Hello, ghouls, guys, gals, and any other life forms that may be streaming this broadcast. You are now listening to Storming the Unknown, where we have the paranormal, which I include science, mediums, Ouija boards, all that creepy type of stuff, UFOs, cryptids, and serial killers, all under one freaky little roof. A gathering place for the morbid curiosity to come and play and learn about the deepest, darkest parts of the unknown. Join myself and special guests such as paratech makers, MUFON experts, cryptid hunters, and segments of terrifying tales from all around the world. Delve more in depth to these subjects than you ever have before. Feast on this smorgasbord of everything supernatural. Join me as we go storming the unknown. Tonight, my special guest is Mr. Steve Hummel. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on real quick. Hello, Steve.
How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, sir. How are you aside from traveling?
Oh, doing good. Sitting here in the car with my buddies Ryan and Dave, and heading back from Virginia from an investigation.
How far away are you guys from your home?
What's that?
How far away are you guys from home?
We're about 2.5, 3 hours.
Oh, geez, you're still real
Yeah,
far away.
yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I'm going to go ahead and let you just introduce yourself briefly while I get this shared on all of our other websites and everything, and then we will go ahead and jump into it.
Okay. Well, again, my name's Steve. Been investigating for about 13 years now. I co-produce Paranormal Quest. It's a YouTube channel. I own and curate my paranormal museum. It's called Archive of the Afterlife. All the information on those two entities, if you will, can be found on Facebook. Check out the pages, like them, follow them. Basically, got started investigating at the former West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, West Virginia, and that's where I met Ryan, Dave, and Jason. We four make up Paranormal Quest. Um, so we basically all met because of, in one way, form, or the other, being involved with that facility, and we started investigating under the mentorship, if you will, of Polly Gear, who is Dave's mom, and because of that, we've all became very close friends, and at one point decided we wanted to kind of branch off from Mountaineer Paranormal, which was Polly's group, and start Paranormal Quest, which has been going strong for quite some time now. Just recently, we surpassed 40,000 subscribers.
Yeah, on the YouTube channel.
What's that?
On the YouTube channel that you guys have?
Yes, YouTube channel. And just recently, we started a haunted tour company called Journeys into the Supernatural. And what we do with that is basically we get locations, and of course, we open up basically admissions for people from the general public to join us and investigate. But we keep it very, very affordable, and we keep it very, very limited to assure that each individual that comes on our investigations will have a very memorable but very a good quality time.
Yeah.
While they're at the locations, a lot of these places start coming in 40, 50, 60 people and charge $100, and this
You're kind of breaking up
uh,
just a little bit.
yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, this is always a problem that we have whenever people do it from their phones instead of the actual. You've stopped completely. Well, while we wait for his feed to come back, I'm going to go ahead and enter all of the different websites and stuff, give you guys the links to it. Catch up and chat real quick. Hey, Joe. Hey, Russ. Hello, Sander. Hey, Vicky. Hello, Kathy. If you guys have any questions for Steve while I try and get him back here in the feed real quick, go ahead and type it in.
What's that?
You're back now, kind of. Oh, we lost him completely. Hold on, guys. This is always an issue when we have people coming in from StreamYard from their phones instead of from their computers. So let me get him back real quick. Device is not connected. Let's see. It's loading, trying to get him back. There he is. Hello again.
Yeah, we have we've been working with the Paranormal Quest, the YouTube channel, and Journeys into the Supernatural. Kind of the two main irons in the fire we have. We also have a Paracon coming up, June 27th. It's a Saturday. It'll be at the former West Virginia State Penitentiary. We have some pretty amazing that we have Andrea Perrin coming in, Heather Taddy, Bishop Long will be there. Paranormal Quest will be speaking as well. The information for that can be viewed.
You're breaking up again. I did hear you say that you're having Bishop Long. He's actually going to be on my show in about a month, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I went ahead and while you were disconnected, I put all of the links to all of your different websites and stuff in the comments so you guys can go ahead and click on those and check them out. We'll go ahead and get started with the different questions I had. So far as, a lot of us, when we're paranormal investigators, we just have that as not necessarily a hobby, but we have our main jobs and then we have to, work our 9 to 5s to support what we're doing. But
right.
With you have the Archive of the Afterlife. And that's just, I've always wanted to own a museum or something of that effect to just collect everybody's haunted shit and put it in one place and do tours and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's really cool. If I were closer in that area, I would definitely be there all the time. I wanted to go ahead and ask you about a few of the artifacts that I see that you have in there. You say Annie is one of your most active and powerful entities. How did you stumble upon her? Was it is it a picture that you have of her, or what relic is it?
It's just a framed portrait. It's about 16 inches by 20 inches. I actually kind of basically found her before I even had the museum, but at the time I was just collecting mainly World War II items, which I still do collect World War II items. But after a while, after I had started the museum, I wanted to incorporate the picture of Annie into the museum because countless times while going to this local antique store in Wheeling, I would always find myself stopping to look at her picture and not really understanding why at the time. Mm-hmm. But looking back, she was really just kind of reaching out for just communication. She was very lonely. And once I started the museum, I definitely thought, I have to have this picture in the museum because I want to see if other people pick up off of her energy as well. So long story short, once the museum started, I went to go buy her portrait. And the day I went to go get it, I realized the vendor that had her had left. Like the entire area was missing. So a month or so down the road, while continuing to frequent the antique store, past that vendor booth, and as I came up to that vendor area, the vacant one, I looked back into it again. Nothing was in there except this one particular time. Her picture somehow was leaning against the wall in the back area of it. That's the day that I purchased the portrait, and she's been in the museum collection ever since. We've actually had multiple points of communication with Annie. One of the main times we made communication with her is one of the more recent investigations of Paranormal Quest was there. The episode's called Haunted School and Haunted Museum, and the thumbnail has my ventriloquist doll on it. So if anyone wants to check that out, that's one of the more up-to-date times that communication with Annie has been made.
Now, I know you said that you guys have done it. Do you allow other teams to come in and investigate the museum?
Yes, yeah, we have public nights and private night investigations for the museum rooms and the rest of the building that it's in. It's actually in
The
a
Third Street
former
School,
school
correct?
turned right, and then eventually that was rededicated and became the Sanford School. And it closed in 2009. So there's multiple small businesses in there now.
So you're joined with other businesses, or is it just the other things that you run out of that building?
Oh no, it's I'm actually on the board of directors for the community center. There are other different types of businesses, from taekwondo, dance studio. There's a small bakery set up in it. My friend Alita has a massage studio. So there's multiple different businesses.
Now, Annie's pretty active in there. Is Lydia active at all? Now, Lydia is this creepy little doll head. I don't do dolls. Like,
But no,
I
yeah,
when I'm around dolls, I think it was because when I was growing up, my grandma had a bunch of them, and I had to sleep in that room where they all just stare at me. I can't do dolls. Like my grandma from the States, because I grew up in Guam, would send me Barbie dolls every year for like my birthday and Christmas and stuff like that. And one, I'm not like a girly girl, but they also scared the living bejesus out of me. So I'd actually pop their heads off and bury their heads in the front yard and their bodies in the back so they couldn't come after me. Because I'd watched
right,
Chucky at a pretty young age. So I was like, no, screw that. You're going there and you're going here. You can't run after me if you
right.
don't have a body.
Yeah, I had the same situation. I was very young when the movie Child's Play came out too. So yeah,
hmm
I could definitely understand where.
But have
But
you
the
had any like crazy activity with her at all?
the Lydia doll, the two main events that from all one time at the old location the museum was at on Jefferson Avenue, and one time at the now present location inside the Sanford Community Center building. Two different ladies, again, two different times, left because they stated that they felt completely nauseous, like they had to leave the area, leave the room that item was in, just to kind of get out and kind of reset themselves.
Um, I did read that on the website that the lady said while she was waiting for her friend, she ended up feeling like overwhelmingly sick. Do you have that
Yeah.
happen quite a bit, or is it just around certain items that you have in the museum?
Um, Certain items, I think sometimes people react differently. Just as if, people, when people meet, say, another person for the first time, they sometimes know from day one that they'll like the person or not like the person. I think that kind of transfers over between the living and the deceased.
Now, do you ever have it to where I know people get nauseous, but do you ever had anybody feel like they've been attacked, or have the latter of it, feel so connected with certain things that you have in your museum that you just have like repeat customers from the different bonds that they end up forming with things that you have there?
Yes, both of those. But to both of those questions, we've had some people come back because they feel connected, they feel welcomed by certain items, predominantly with the Annie picture. A lot of people feel very comfortable around her. Not so much with the dolls I have. Most of the items I have are removed because they were causing problems in the household or the business that they came from.
hmm Um, Now, the latter of it, do you ever, you said you have people come back because they feel the connections. How often would you say those people actually come back?
Of course, depends on where they live.
Yeah, because you're not
Right,
going to want to make a 10-hour trip every weekend.
right. I mean, they're more than welcome to, but yeah, that's highly you know highly improbable that's going to happen. I would say yeah, that kind of like someone might come once or twice. Uh, like this year, they might try to revisit the next year, something like that. They might be coming back to visit family in the
Hmm.
area. They might visit the museum whenever they're back in the area.
So, how long has the museum itself in this location? Because you said it was in a different location before. How long have you had it set up in this particular location?
I think I'm going on my third or fourth year
Okay, so it's
being
been
where I'm
quite a
at.
while.
Yeah.
And on your website, you do state that if anybody has any items, whether it be dolls or just anything in particular, because energies can attach to whatever they feel most comfortable with or feel the most connection with. How many times do you actually get called to take people's items out of their homes because of the problems it's causing or because they don't want to deal with it anymore?
Um, I'd say that may happen 3, 4 times a month,
Really?
and there's a lot of times they show up with it, put it on my desk, and say, "This is creeping me out. I don't want it in my house anymore." They just leave. I've had some items are mailed to me too, and, and to be honest, being that we're always out investigating, we always sometimes find items on our investigations, different things like that. Um, and being as sensitive, being an empath myself, sometimes just going to a antique store or something like that, you kind of
You pick up on
have
stuff, you get
right,
drawn to certain areas and realize why, because something's just like staring your soul down pretty much.
right, and that's pretty much how what happened with Annie. And after getting to do some research, luckily there was some information on the back of her picture. You know, we were able to find out where she was buried. It took about 2 years, but because Ancestry had the year wrong of her death, but we were luckily able to have some connections, and people were able to find out, the actual year of the death. That really helped us out.
Um, I do the same thing. I love going to antique shops and just finding whatever kind of draws me in, except for when it's the dolls. I'm
Yeah.
like, nope, fuck you. I'm going this way. Like, no, thank you.
So
That
you're
happened.
saying that you don't like dolls?
I cannot stand them. Like, what I investigate the Bonnie and Clyde Ambush Museum quite a bit in Gibson, Louisiana, and
Right.
okay, I really can't do mannequins because of that episode of the Twilight Zone where they all like
Oh yeah.
come to life. I watched that when I was super young too. So I I also know that how easy it is for spirits to connect with things like that. And I'm just waiting for that one day where I'm in a place that has a mannequin and then, like the arm raises up or they try and touch me and I will fight a mannequin like we will go. But the Bonnie and Clyde Ambush Museum in Gibson, Louisiana has a shit ton of mannequins in there. Like every single room has a set of mannequins and they're in, Bonnie and Clyde's clothing and stuff. And, being in there in pitch dark, all I have is my camera to be able to see where I'm going. And one night I backed up because I heard something and ended up bumping into one of the mannequins and I almost swung on him because you feel like a hand touching your back, but it was different than when, a spirit or an energy touches you. It felt real because obviously it was a mannequin's hand, but that freaked me out so bad. I was like, okay, um, I'm gonna cordon off this area so I don't touch them again because that legit scared the shit out of me because I investigate by myself.
Right.
So when you feel someone in the room with you like that, and it's not, oh man, and it's just the fact that it was a mannequin, any type of doll, any type of mannequins, that's just a no go for me. So I'd love your museum because I love being scared.
Well, anytime you're in the area, let me know.
Oh yes, I would definitely check it out. I'm gonna catch up in chat real quick. Hi Laura, hey Dan, hello Vicky. Um, let's see. There were a few more people that I know I missed. I'm sorry. We've just been kind of on a roll. Real quick. Hey, Donna. Hello, Eddie. Hello, Penny. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask about the museum or what they do for Paranormal Quest, any of that stuff, go ahead and type it in the comments, and I'll go ahead and get to it when I can. Joe Vitale said the museum is pretty creepy. Definitely got some haunted stuff going on in there. I'd hope so. um, hello, Dan Norvell. Hello, sir. So Paranormal Quest, how long have you been doing that?
Um, Paranormal Quest. We were just talking about that. About how long do we think we've been doing that? We were doing the math the other night.
How long have you been filming?
Yeah,
Paranormal
filming.
Quest? First episode that we filmed for Paranormal Quest was September 2010.
September 2010 was when we put our first video out. So
Almost 10 years ago then. So almost as long as you've been investigating, because you said you've been doing it for 13 years, correct?
Yeah.
And, you mentioned earlier about when you go into antique stores and you feel because of that sort of empath ability that you have now, do you feel like, I feel like the longer that people investigate, the easier it is for you to develop that ability. Like it just starts kind of coming naturally to you, or were you like that before you started investigating?
I was like that for a while before I started.
Would you say it amplified it though after you started investigating?
Yeah, because it's more so after you start investigating, you're able to more identify with your previous experiences and different things like that. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. It's like honing a skill. If you're practicing it enough, it kind of like perfects um that connection that you end up getting with everything you come into contact with. Now I saw there was another thing I want to ask you about the Ectovision. Is it production?
Ectovex. Yes,
Ectovex. There we
Ectovex
go.
production. That's a company that Dave Ryan and I have anywhere from them to full length projects. For people, it's all movie to anything video that the person would need.
So it's
Because
not just for
basically,
it's not just for Paranormal Quest. You'll do it for anybody who needs the production value or that skill set.
yeah, basically when we were, with Polly and stuff like that, and I said we do our own little project, start doing our own videos. Basically, we wanted to take our passion of paranormal investigating and our again our another passion we had was filmmaking. So we wanted to put them both together, and that's how PQ got started. But then we figured, well, we're really having a good time, getting pretty comfortable with doing filmmaking and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Then we decided to basically start Ectovex so we can, start trying to make a little bit more income for ourselves that way.
Yeah, to keep what you're doing going. um,
Correct.
let's see. Sandy Wells asked, "What town is the museum in?"
Moundsville, West Virginia.
Moundsville, West Virginia. Now isn't that near the penitentiary?
Yeah, it's the same town.
Okay. How far away are you from the actual penitentiary itself?
Like 5 minutes.
No way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, you see, I used to be a tour guide there for almost 12 years. So
Oh, that's even cooler.
yeah.
um, Laura Helm says, I get creeped out with mannequins. I feel like there's something. Yeah, it feels like something's watching you because, I mean, those things have eyes. Even when I'm in like department stores and stuff, which I mean, department stores aren't even really a thing now. But when I was little, I would go out of my way to make sure that I wasn't anywhere near them in case they decided to try and reach out and grab me. I would go like all the way around to get to where I needed to go. I'm the same way with sewers still though at 29 years old. Because I watched all these scary movies when I was younger because I had all these older cousins, so that's all they did. And so like by 4 or 5 years old, I was watching like it, the Child's Play, and all that stuff. And I still, as a 29-year-old woman, will not walk by sewage drains because I'm not trying to get eaten by a
Yeah,
clown. Just
yeah,
like
we
I
love
know
horror
it's
movies too.
I know it's irrational, but I still will watch the shit out of them because I love being scared. Like that's my favorite thing to do is be scared.
Right. I think I was like 5 or whatever when I ended up watching the original Fright Night. So yeah, it was. It didn't go well. But then again, now pretty much since then, I've always liked scary stories, scary movies, and stuff like that. So
Hmm. Like as much as the original It scared me, I was there on the premiere dates of It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2
oh yeah,
because,
we
like I said, I just love having the bejesus scared out of me.
yeah the new I really enjoyed the
The
new take on it.
first, yeah, I enjoyed the first chapter better than the second one. The second one felt kind of rushed, but I definitely loved the first
Yeah,
chapter.
I'm more of a Michael Myers fan, but yeah.
Yeah, but the books are way more scary though than the movies
Oh
were.
yeah,
Way more
absolutely.
scary. Um, let's see. Hi Pam. We have everybody else in here. Now the other thing I wanted to ask you about the museum is the Grave City Expo that you have in there.
Right.
Um, will you explain that to everybody what it is?
Basic. Right. The Grave City Haunted Relic Expo is. I kind of modified the Paracon I was doing before that, um, and I wanted to focus on people who already have haunted items and allowing them and myself to get all of our, well, not obviously all of our collections, because some people might have very extensive collections, but have as many haunted items under one roof as possible.
Which would be like, oh man, that'd be like Disneyland for me.
Well, yeah, just the other day, I'm lining up shipping about an hour away. I'm the third embalming table, so
I saw that. Now, is that actually? Do you have any, um, I guess, experiences that happen alongside of that table, or is it just because it's an embalming table and that's cool?
well, this one particularly is because it's an embalming table. It's a porcelain one, and no pun intended, I get a pretty killer deal on it. So,
um,
but
let's.
it's hard not to have an embalming table that hasn't been used for as many years as it has in it for not to have any energy at all attached to it. Kind of,
Yes. I
yeah,
mean, no matter how anybody passes away, out of all the different types of ways that people can pass, you're at least going to have those different types of either sudden or violent deaths in the mixture of all that that definitely add to that connection.
right,
Um,
right.
Sandy would like to know when is that happening, the next Grave City event?
Um, I'll get 2 events in July. I think it's the July 18th, and it's from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. But have her check out my Archive of the Afterlife Facebook page,
Mhm.
and it should be on there. If not, it'll be up there by tomorrow or the next day.
And that link is already in the chat, guys, so you can go ahead and
Or just
click
look
on
up
that.
Grave City Haunted Relic Expo. There's an event page for it already.
Um, if I can find that while we're doing this, I'll go ahead and put that in too.
Yeah,
But yeah, we definitely have to try and get out there for that. I mean, you're
it'll be
far
fun.
away, but I've done everything in the South there is to do. I need to start getting further out, but with the little one, it's not so easy nowadays. I
Right.
can't just get up and go anymore. Do whatever I want. All right, guys, I found the Facebook page for the event, so you guys can go
Cool.
ahead and just click on that link, and it'll give you all of the different schedule times and all the information that goes down with that. Now, what would be your top 3 locations that you've investigated so far? Top 3.
Okay. Top 3 locations that I've investigated. I would say number 1, and I don't think you can investigate it anymore, would be St. Joseph's Hospital in Lorain, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Dave's going to kill me. But Moon River Brewery, as it stands right now, the amount of activity there, it was really interesting.
I've heard a lot
And
about that place.
It was probably one of our most intense investigations we've ever been on. We actually have part one out right now, and part two of that will be coming out very shortly. So that's also on the Paranormal Quest YouTube channel. Um, the third location, I'm going to be biased. It's kind of home. I'm going to say the former West Virginia State Penitentiary. So
Now, would
we'll
you
throw
say
that one.
that's your favorite because you've been in there so many times, or because of the actual experience?
Oh, both, both reasons. It's probably with the amount of violence, the amount of death that place has had, and it being a very compared to other locations, a smaller area.
Mm-hmm.
The place is charged big time. I mean, it basically was at one time ranked in the top 5 most violent institutions in the nation. It's built over a Native American burial ground. It lies very close to a ley line.
So it has all the ingredients to just be super active.
Absolutely, like you just said, if you pick out a list of ingredients for what would be a prime location for a haunting to be in, the West Virginia State Penitentiary is.
Hits all the marks.
It's probably very close. It would. I would say you'd be hard pressed to find another location that would compare to it.
Well, that's what the last show that I did, we talked about that quite a bit. And on the show that Sandy and Russ did last weekend, they were in Concrete, Washington, which is, I mean, it's a very tiny little town, which is like a 1.5 mile strip of little shops and whatnot. But I mean, it's been around since 1890, but it was all Native. When you think about it, all of America was Native American ground before. So it's hard. You'd be hard pressed not to find something that, especially in the bigger settlement areas like where I live, to find a shit ton of locations. Like people when I do home investigations, it's literally like all in the same neighborhoods pretty much, because it was all a Native American settlement at one point. And when you think about all the tragic deaths, the sudden deaths, just the violence alone that was happening back then, even just within the Native American tribes themselves, fighting over territories. I always find that those locations are way more intense. But in Concrete, Washington, they have a dam, a few rivers, a mountain with an active volcano inside of it. You have all these things. Just the earth elementals alone are all beacons pretty much for all that energy to flow back into when it's gone. And so it's literally the perfect recipe for hauntings, because they've investigated pretty much every little building in that town, and everything has some type of activity. Let's see. And when any type of jail, penitentiary, anything like that, that of course is going to have violence in it. But when it's ranked one of the most violent of all of them, that's just going to be even better. Oh, I can't wait to do things like that, like bigger places, because I'm just by myself. So I try and stick to smaller places that I can actually get done. Let's see. Hello, Steve. Okay. Now, what's the farthest you've ever traveled for an investigation?
Farthest I've ever traveled for an would probably.
Probably what? I'm sorry, you cut out on that part.
Oh, that's Savannah, Georgia.
Okay. Was that where no, Moon River Brewery is not in Georgia, is it?
Yeah,
That's the one you were talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Georgia, Savannah in itself, just because of all the history in it alone with the wars, the Native American settlements there, that town is just teeming with activity. I passed through there when I was younger and could feel just the energy coming off it. Like just walking down the street, you feel that energy surrounding that place.
It was a very surreal town. Yeah. Yeah, it was very surreal. I mean, you just feel the history, feel the energy.
What's the most haunted city you've ever been in?
Most haunted city I've been.
Where
I'd
everything just
say
creeped you out?
I'd say it would for me. It would be a toss up between
Savannah and where?
Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, definitely. I love the haunted tours and stuff that they do there, the Gettysburg Bash and all that they do every year. Um, I was gonna try and make it last year, but then ended up finding out I was pregnant with this little guy. Couldn't do that. Let's see, Steve, Ashley, are you going to make it back to the Bonnie and Clyde Museum? I know I've seen you there before. Oh yeah, I'll be going out there actually in the next month and a half after. Well, actually, I guess 2 months after the Tyler Paranormal Conference that I'm speaking at. I'm going to be heading out there for that weekend. Rest as long as we go to Texas. Oh, yeah. Now, the other things that I wanted to ask you about before we get off, because I know you guys are traveling, so I'm not going to keep you on for the whole hour. So, Paranormal Quest.
Right.
What would be the top 3 episodes that you would tell everybody to watch first or suggest as your favorite episode so far?
Well, let me ask the guys here. What do you guys think would be our top 3 episodes that you would recommend for people to watch?
First Cabin series.
The series, The Cursed Cabin. It's a 3-part. Let me put this back on. It's right here.
Okay, Cursed Cabin series.
The Cursed Cabin series. It's a 3-part series. What you do?
He's got headphones in, so listen to the music.
Okay, never mind.
Cursed Cabin was probably one of the most, I would say the most extreme, the one that caught us the most off guard. I would say probably the most recent, most haunted city in America out of Savannah, Georgia was probably pretty intense. And that one definitely caught us off guard because of what happened, the effect that it had on us.
Yeah. Especially with Dave.
Yes, especially with Dave. And then the other one, the evidence that we got out of St. Joseph's Hospital is
We were really bummed out that they stopped having investigations.
I'll say probably that one, St. Joseph's, would be one of the other in the top 3. But I mean, there's others. I mean, there's like a toss up there for the number 3 spot. So many, and even number 2, you can bump. There's so many good investigations we've been on. Hard to just choose one.
So basically, watch all the videos.
Just watch all of them. I did put the top 3 though in the comments. So when you guys go to that YouTube channel, again, it is in the comments, so you can just click on that link and get right over to their page. But you guys also have their top 3 recommended. And remember, the Cursed Cabin series is a 3-part series, like he said. So take a little bit of time, if you have time, go and watch those, and make sure you guys check out the Archive of the Afterlife page as well. I was going to get a little bit more in depth with you tonight, but since you're on the road, I don't want to keep these gentlemen having to be silent either for the road trip. I know how road trips are.
We can do a few more questions if you want.
I will go ahead and we'll go on for about 10 more minutes and just cut it about 10 minutes short to an hour. But there were, let me pull the questions back up real quick because I had to pull up your YouTube channel to share those links. 1 second. Now, the old Sparky execution cap was a big thing with me because when you have that, they know that they're going, obviously, when they're being executed, but it is sudden and it is violent. Like, that is one of the most inhumane ways to go, as far as I'm concerned. And I think more than anything, it was because I watch Green Mile too much.
Right.
So you see that happen over and over again. And I mean, before they realized, they do the sponge pad and all of that, before they figured out how to make it a little less shocking, we'll say.
Oh, I heard that one before.
um, Before they figured out to make it more humane. I mean, this is a very old piece. Do you know what
Right.
year it's from?
Well, the executions at the penitentiary where it came from were conducted between 1951 was the first one?
And the electric chair?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And the last one was in 1959. That was Elmer Bruner. The death penalty in West Virginia was abolished in 1960, stated. So from 1951 to 1959, that cap was used for 9 executions.
That's surprising that's kind of a low number. I mean, compared to
Yeah, we
what
got
other
kind of cut off with
penitentiaries would
that.
do.
Well, because when you look at it, the 1770s or so, up until 1898, executions in West Virginia, well, Virginia then West Virginia, were done by county jurisdiction. Then in 1899, the state took over all executions. So when the state took over, there were only 94 conducted by order of the state, 85 by hanging, 9 in the electric chair. But total, there's 155 executions. That's including the county executions, and then the last 94 being by order of the state.
So I mean, that is a higher number, but just it's very weird to me that it's only 9 by electrocution, because that was normally everybody's go-to.
Right. And it's safe to say if it wasn't abolished, there more than likely would have been a lot more.
Oh yeah. Steve White wants to know, what are your thoughts on the activity in Shepherdstown, West Virginia?
I really can't answer that one yet. I've not been there. I know the guys and I have always talked about visiting Shepherdstown. I personally would really like to visit it because about 2.5 to 3 years ago, my aunt was doing our genealogy and found out that one of the main founders of Shepherdstown is actually like my second or third uncle. So I'd like to eventually visit that town and do some investigating there.
Yeah, especially if it's a familial thing, they definitely pick up on that.
Yeah.
They definitely pick up on the fact that it's a familiar energy. Like when I went down to New Orleans and did the Islanios Museum, my family is not from there, but because I'd grown up there, I was in that museum all the time when I was younger. It was like I was familiar to them because they'd seen me when I was little. I'd seen them all the time when I was little, and it was kind of like a reunion of sorts when I went back down there. Sandy and Russ Wells out of Washington said that they look forward to meeting your team. They're going to be traveling this summer, and they're definitely going to try and stop out your way to visit the museum and try and come around expo time. So that's pretty awesome.
Tell them to feel free to send me a message on Facebook, and that way I'll have an idea of whenabouts they might be in the area.
Alrighty, you guys heard the man. Send him a message. You guys can you just click on his name because he's tagged in this post. So you just click on his name and it'll bring you right to his profile page. But the other object that I wanted to ask you about was Ashen. Now, you say that it was with a bunch of other little dolls that you collected, and did you find this in Western State Penitentiary, or was it just while you were working there?
The doll, you mean the little porcelain doll?
Yes.
That doll was donated with another doll while I was working at, they were donating to the museum while I was working tours at the penitentiary. So I did not get to talk with the people who donated them and interview them, why they were donating them. They just basically told my volunteer at the museum that these dolls creep me out. We don't want them. You're a problem.
Now you say that has a way of speaking to select visitors. Now, what do you mean by speaking to? Is it a way that, is it messages that they get? Is it feelings that they get? In
More
what way would you
feelings.
say? Feelings.
More so feelings.
Good or bad?
Not good. He hasn't made anyone necessarily nauseous like the Lydia doll did, but a lot of people don't really like being around Ashen. It just they feel unwelcome. They feel kind of just pushed away.
Yeah, the just looking at the picture, I have goosebumps because just being whatever you want to call it, medium, psychic, all that other bullshit. I hate those words. But whatever I can do with remote viewing and stuff like that, just looking at certain pictures and things, sometimes if the energy is strong enough, like you just get it off of the picture. And the way that this doll is cross-eyed looking at me right now, I do not like it. It's so, oh my God, it's so creepy. I did post the link to this website so you guys can actually go and see these pictures of the items that we've been talking about tonight. You guys have to go check out Ashen because she is hella creepy. Now, the last two that I was going to ask you about was Corey. It's the, I guess, is it porcelain that it's made out of?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just a porcelain like face type looking thing. But have you ever have anything
Like a little glass box type thing.
Mm-hmm. Have you had anything particular happen with that? Hello? Oh, you're cutting out a little bit. Hold on.
The
Oh, hold on. You're cutting out.
It's just one of those items that.
I'm sorry. Can you start over again? You cut out super bad at the beginning of it.
I would walk. It was an antique store in Marietta.
Oh, you're losing signal pretty bad. Oh, there he goes. Just wait for him to come back real quick and finish catching up on the comments while he is gone. Let's see. No problem, Steve. Sandy and Russ said will do. Sandy said, great show as always. Amazing guests. Yep. Okay, you're back. Yep. I can hear you now. Like Verizon.
So basically, again, she was a doll that I personally connected with and brought to the museum to see if other people
would feel the same way.
Yeah.
So is that a big basis on what you end up bringing back is just the feelings that you get and seeing if anybody else just vibes with it the same way you do, or if they'll react in a different way than you do?
Right, and I actually try to keep a little log of what people say about each different item. So that way, while doing so, if there's a common denominator starts popping up, it makes it a little bit more, in my opinion, substantial.
Oh yeah, it's like It's like a scientific experiment. You go through and you're having not necessarily a controlled environment, but with a controlled subject at least, and getting different results or the same results every time. It does substantiate what you're feeling at that point. Now, everybody in the chat is saying that they can't wait to visit the museum, and you definitely have some new people interested in going. So, guys, remember you can click on all those links. I posted everything from the Paranormal Quest, from the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. Also, the Haunted Relic Tour thing that they do, the whole little get-together that they do for that. I did post the links for the Archive of the Afterlife, both the Facebook page and the website, so you guys can check everything out over there. Because you're cutting out so much, I'm going to go ahead and end the show just because it's like getting super choppy. I'm guessing you're getting through the super country part of Virginia.
We're in the mountains. We're West Virginia, actually.
There you go. So you're getting up there. But thank you so much, Steve, for coming on tonight. We had a lot of fun, and it was awesome to get to know more about what you guys do and more about the museum.
Absolutely.
You are welcome back anytime. Just let me know, and we can delve way more in depth to it. Thank you again so much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys. So that was Steve. He was awesome. If you guys have any other questions, we can try and get them caught up later when his connection's a little bit better. I'm going to catch up on the comments real quick, and then we're going to get going. Steve White said Fred wants to go on a Bigfoot expedition. I know, but he wants to stay out of the border towns in Texas. He's all about Broken Bow, Oklahoma, just saying. See, and you know the Broken Bow is my shit. I will go back all the time. I'm actually going to try and go back out there in about 3 months to redo the asylum because I was pregnant last time, and I have some scores to settle with the energies in that place. Russ said, good night, great show. Fred said, I cannot wait to visit the museum. Me either. It sounds amazing, and it's way closer to you than it is to me. Hope you get out there soon. Thank you, Russ. Steve White, Ashley's amazing show. I've always tried to follow her since I've first seen her. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. You guys can go ahead and follow the Profoundly Paranormal page now that I'm back at it since I've had the baby. I'm going to be doing way more stuff. I actually do have the Tyler Paranormal Conference coming up in April. It's April 18th. If you guys want to check that out, the Facebook page for Tyler Paranormal Conference, you can get the tickets there. I will be a guest speaker, so you guys can come check that out. I'll also have a merchandise booth, so you guys can get some stuff from the American Ghost Hunter show, from RU Media Network, and from Profoundly Paranormal. I might have a few goodies from the Warren Legacy Foundation as well. Good night, everybody that was watching, and remember, I like to close it out the way that we do. Remember that we live in a diverse society. Sorry, the baby's waking up. In fact, a diverse world, and we must learn to live in peace and respect with each other. And that was a quote from Stan Lee. For Paranormal Bully Busters, our page, if you guys want to go ahead and follow it, it gives you all of the things that you need, the resources that you need for the Stomp Out Bullying campaign. You guys can visit stompoutbullying.org, or you can call 877-NO-BULLY and get connected to their chat lines, which give you all the different resources that you need. Make sure that, if you have kids, you're using these resources. These resources can be given to the schools so they know how to better handle these situations. If you're an adult, and you're in these situations, because it doesn't just happen to children. People are mean-spirited sometimes, and when it gets us feeling down, when it makes us feel like, there's no end in sight for it, these things can help you deal with those issues. You can also donate to the Stomp Out Bullying organization on this website. So we always make sure we go and do that. Now, if you guys, again, have any other questions, you can go ahead and message it to me on the RU Media site or on my Profoundly Paranormal page. I'll probably respond to that quicker than the RU Media site or my personal page. Everything is in the links at the top. Thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. Goodbye, Laura. Goodbye, Steve, Russ, Fred, Sandy, everybody else who joined in tonight. I appreciate it. And remember, if you want to discover the secrets to the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And y'all have a great night.